Hello and welcome. Although today isn't going to be that different from what we usually do, we will be building and testing a PC. I am under a little bit more pressure because this is going to a family member. Let's go ahead and give you just a little bit of backstory on this. You see, my grandmother has a pretty good PC that I built for her back in, probably 2013? Yeah, that sounds about right. I believe it has a X5650 in it, and I think 24 gigs of RAM. So it's not a bad PC, even by today's standards. I mean, you got 6 cores and 12 threads, and she's not exactly an avid gamer. It's almost entirely email and Office applications. She doesn't even watch YouTube on the thing. So, why does she need a new one if it's pretty decent and still working just fine? Well, my grandmother's the type of person that doesn't say when there are problems. Case in point, her original system that I grew up playing Flash games on had a 900 megahertz Duron in it, and she used it up until 2013 when the hard drive started to die. She lost a lot of data thanks to that, and I decided I wanted to build her something nice. So I picked up a used Dell Precision. I think it was either a T1600. Yeah, I think it was a T1600. That sounds about right. Whatever it was pretty decent, and it was socket 1366, which I had a bunch of Xeons at the time, so threw one in, threw in some RAM, off to the races. I think it only has a 64 gigabyte SSD, though. Don't remember the hard drive. It's probably not very big. But I went to visit recently, and I heard the machine. It is just a jet engine in that office. And I casually commented about it, and she goes, "Oh, yes," my grandmother is British. "It's been doing that lately. Also, sometimes it turns off, and you have to turn it off and back on again at the wall in order for it to turn back on." So that's not great. That sounds like it's on the way out. I mean, it is not exactly a new system. The Precision T1600, I believe, came out in 2009. So, yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of money right now, so we're going to have to go with used hardware. So we're going to build the computer that every single grandparent has owned. I have a plan. We are going to start with this pretty bare bones Optiplex 790. Now, I'm pretty sure this is a second gen Core i series, probably with an i5. In fact, yes, Intel Core i5. Almost guaranteed that this is an i5 2400. I've seen different, but that is not a bad CPU. It'll run Windows 10 perfectly fine. Throw some extra RAM in here and she'll be very happy. Won't notice the difference in cores or threads. There's only one problem, and that is not. There we go. Yeah, the latch is broken, so it'll just fall out. So let's have a quick look inside here and see if this motherboard can be swapped into a different case. I'm pretty sure that's standard ATX power. The only thing I'm not sure about is what the front panel looks like. Yeah, let's see what we've got. We have a pretty basic system here. I can already see it. Just what I was afraid of. That right there is Dell's stupid proprietary front panel adapter. Now, you actually can get adapters to change that front panel thing to a standard front panel, but I don't have any right now, and I'd like to get this done. So, instead of that, why don't we go ahead and just harvest the CPU out of here real quick? I really wish that latch wasn't broken, because then we could just use this case. But it is what it is. I got this machine free at VCF Midwest, so I'm not too broken up about this not being ready to go. I notice there's fresh thermal paste on that CPU. So, do we have an upgrade? I think we do. No way. What do we got? And there we go. We have an i7 2600. That's one of the best CPUs you can get in this socket that isn't 3rd gen. That means it's also very, very compatible across a wide array of motherboards, which is good because I think I know what we're going to do since we can't use this system. Let's have a look. Well, our plan at this point is to just ignore that Dell. We've got what we really needed out of it, which was the CPU. I think that'll work. Instead, we're going to test this system out, which was sent in by one of our viewers. This is a similar spec system, and if I recall correctly, it has an i5 2320 in it, I think. I mean, we're about to find out. I may have set it up to test and then never tested it, so I don't remember what's under here. All I know is I'm wasting a little bit of thermal paste doing this because I just pasted this like last week. So, survey says we have a good cooler, so that helps us. Put my rag out of reach. Oh! I was correct, an i5 2320. The right thing to do would be to test this system as it is, because I didn't test it last time. We're not going to do that. We are going to go ahead and slap in that 2600 there and hope that it works. Ooh. Oh dear. I see a bent pin. That's not good. I don't have my sewing kit with me, but maybe, just maybe, I think we fixed it. That was lucky. Let's do the right thing and immediately change CPUs to the, equally untested one. This came out of a free machine, so we don't know if it works. There's a good chance that this CPU might be dead. Don't do what I do. This is a very dumb decision that doesn't actually save that much time. You know, this might save 10 minutes, but I take chances. Again, do not do what I do. We'll go ahead and give it some ample thermal paste. They usually go about the size of a pea, but that's a little bit larger. Not going to hurt it any. Unfortunately, this is not a copper core cooler, but it should work just fine. So, let's go ahead and get this reattached. Then we'll test it and find out it's dead. Only the finest quality for my systems. We have a Tech power supply, 450 watts. We do not need 450 watts, and in fact, we're going to do something that most people think you can't do. Let me show you. This power supply only has a CPU 4-pin. This motherboard has an 8-pin. You can just connect this 4-pin think it's going to be the one closer to the socket. Ta-da! And that will be enough. Assuming it works. So, let's find out. Don't need this adapter yet. We just want to see if this system functions. I think this might have a bad fan, now that I'm thinking about it. Well, it didn't explode. So, let's go ahead and use our front panel connector here. I forgot to connect the CPU fan. That's shit. I need to redo this. Whoops. Hey. We have a screen. That's all I care about for now. I did an oopsies, and I did not pay attention to the, well, this. So I need to rotate this to get the lead closer to the socket. We look good. So, let's get this plugged in before I forget. We want at least 16 gigs of RAM. My grandmother never will use more than that. If I have more, I'll give it, but I'm not confident in that. Now, let's talk about the rest of the system that we are building. Now that we know this works. You know what? I'll just fire it up again. We'll see if we can see a little more about it while I talk. Also, let's see, does this actually have... That fan sounds fine. Thank goodness. Well, it recognizes the 12 gigs of RAM. That fan is still suspect, actually. So, what do we have for the rest of the system? We have a 500 gig SATA SSD. This will be the only storage drive in the system. My grandmother just does not need more, and if she does, later, I'll add more later. I knew that fan was bad. We need a different power supply. That's the one thing she was complaining about, was the noise. Anyway, we can shut that off now. My grandmother is going to use this for her ballet studio, for the most part. Which means she needs an optical drive, because most of their music is still stored on CDs. It is what it is, and I have a sneaking suspicion that every now and then she might actually need a floppy disk. Now, I don't think that this has a port, so we are... You know what, this motherboard doesn't have a port for this, so we're actually going to just hope that she doesn't. I have my suspicions, though. Next, for the graphics card, since she's not going to be playing games, we haven't gone with anything crazy, just a Quadro K620. Why? It has very good and stable drivers. That's it. It's a good card, doesn't use a lot of electricity, and it's pretty quiet. It has a DisplayPort output, which I think she can actually use. I believe that she actually has a modern DisplayPort monitor. If not, well, we can adapt it to HDMI. Next, we have a whole whack ton of random memory that I brought up with us. I think that's the scientific term. And we're going to see just how much we can put in this board. I'm hoping for at least 16, although realistically 8 should be fine. And finally, our case. One of the things that my grandmother did complain about when I first gave her that Precision was the size of the computer. She does not like giant towers on her desk. So we're going with micro ATX. And we're going to go with this case. Why? Because it was free. And it has all the side panels. And it has extra fans. So that's about it. I know nothing about this case. I don't know if the fans are good. The only thing I do know is this came from a friend who was swapping this out in exchange for a server case because I gave them a full ATX board for a server and they needed a bigger case. So, oh, it's sticky. Okay. We are gonna have to clean this. What the hell? Hey, free IDE cable and dog hair. Oh dear. Let's get the cleaning stuff. Normally I blow these out, but this thing appears to be absolutely jam-packed with dog hair. It doesn't smell so bad anymore, at least. And I don't want dog hair all over my studio, so... Not that it's not getting everywhere. Good enough, let's build a PC. You know, could use this Dell power supply. It's got enough wattage, and it should just be a standard ATX power supply. And Dell uses, at least for the modern ones, pretty decent quality power supplies. I think that'll be what we go with. Let's go ahead and get that secured. Okay, power supply installed. Now we actually have the I/O shield for once. Thank you very, very much. I believe this was... Oh, I'm probably going to get this wrong, so this is a risk. I think this was donated by Daniel, alongside a CPU and RAM that he let me borrow for testing an AM5 system, which unfortunately I have not been able to get to work. There we go. Get this secured. Is this case coarse thread? It's older, so it probably is. Yup. You know, here's something I didn't think about. Will this funnel thing fit with... Oh yeah. Yeah, we're good. We'll leave that as it is for now then. Okay. We have an exhaust case fan. We don't have an intake. I don't think we're going to need one, to be honest. I mean, she doesn't live in a terribly dusty environment, and she's not going to be, you know, playing games on here. I think we'll be fine. A little more dog hair out of here. This is for our HD audio. Where does that connect? Over here. That's our HD audio. Yeah. It's going to be USB. And our chassis speaker. Interesting. I don't think we have a speaker header on this board. Maybe. There's our USB. I do not see a speaker header. So, we're just not going to plug that in. Let's get our front panel connected. Luckily, this is very, very well silk screened. You know something? There is a speaker header. It's right next to the front panel. Here we go. Yeah, we can plug that in. Perfect. Let's tuck that out of the way. Okay, we've got plenty of SATA connectors, and this looks like it'll just barely reach. Hey, that means we won't have much cable clutter. Now, are these held in? Oh, it's not held in very well at all. I think I'm going to have to... Am I going to have to take that front panel off for this? I mean, one would think so, but how? You just yank. Yes, you do. Ugh. Oh. I see hair, I see spiders. I'm going to go just for the hair. Nah, let me grab my other screwdriver. Let's get this one out. This is something we're going to have to figure out. What do we do about that second bay? Because these are both DVD writers and they're IDE, which I don't have a lot of. So I kind of actually do want to use them and not just slap them in here as filler. That is a question. Tuck this down here, or not. Tuck it down here. Yes. Get that ready. We will get our SATA DVD writer. Slap that in. Is that correct? Looks like it. We're going to leave that other bay unoccupied for the moment. I just don't know what to do about it. Now we just need to get our SSD installed. And luckily this gives me the opportunity to use one of my awful super short Dell. Yeah. Throw this in here. Go ahead and power it with this. And since there's no front panel fan, we can just kind of slap it up there and it will be fine. I suppose we can secure it with a single screw if we really wanted to. Just in case my grandmother brings it somewhere, although I don't know why she would. So let's just... Yeah. That's not stupid at all. It's in. It's secured. I'll grab one of my spare 90-degree cables for the DVD drive. Should reach. And it does. Grab our power up here. Like, we could add a second drive, but this isn't 2002. You really only need the one. Now, let's make sure this Quadro works. First, we will secure it in place, because we're doing things correct and all that jazz. We'll go ahead and use this again. Now, will it power on? Why, yes. Yes, it will. And we even get a screen. Perfect. Did I leave something in here? I did. That's a Windows 10 install disk. Actually, we need that. We need Windows 10. Oh, come out of there. How convenient. I've never installed Windows 10 from a CD before. Well, okay, I have once, but it took a very long time because we were installing on a 32-bit Pentium 4. Let's grab ourselves a keyboard and mouse, and let's get an operating system installed on here. You know what? No. Let's see if I've got Windows 10 on my iOD. I think I do. I really do think I do. So let's plug that in. It's the big button. If I don't, we have that one. I don't. I've got Windows 7, Vista, and XP. Okay. Huh. Get this put back on, I suppose. I mean, it is functioning. We only have 12 gigs of RAM, but right now, I just want to get things more or less ready. Smart status bad. Oh, shoot. That throws a pretty significant wrench in my plans because I don't have another SSD this big. Shoot. I guess let me see what I can find. Okay, we return with options. Now the first thing I want to try is this. This is a neat little card that someone sent me a long time ago. It has an NVMe slot down here and a SATA M.2 slot up there, which is very important because the same person sent a whole bunch of these M.2 SATA SSDs. They are 256 gigs each. I don't know how good they are, but we're going to find out. Unfortunately, as I have used these cards in testing, I lost the bracket. So, we're going to make this bracket work. This is from I think this is from an HBA. So, think like just a SATA card or SAS card. Now, I think it'll work. It just about lines up, and it just uses a standard fine thread case screw. So, let's get this put together real quick. I think this will work. Now, there is one more thing that we kind of messed up, and that's the hardware to mount an SSD to this. I lost it, but I do have this, which I got from another card. Now, the other card would have been nice to use, but it's NVMe. I can't use NVMe on this system, not only because I don't have any NVMe drives, but I'm pretty sure it won't boot. Now, I also have something that might address that front there. Now, I do have these two, which might address that front. So let's try that real quick. It fits perfect. Oh. I even grabbed this junk CD drive just to have as a filler if I had to, but that fits perfect. It even matches the color of the case. So, let's get that SSD in. Now this board only has one additional PCI Express slot, which means, oh, there is dog hair everywhere still. Wow. That's cool. What I was getting at is installing this means I can't install Wi-Fi, which I was planning on doing. But we do what we can. That fits perfect. I was a little worried about that bracket being too tall or too short and not letting it properly seat, but this is perfect. It's seated flawlessly. Now all I need to do is grab another SATA cable, plug that in. I also brought these so we can at least fill the empty slots in the back with something that breathes. So, that'll do. I have also taken the time to put the Windows 10 ISO on the iOD. That way we can install it from this instead of having to bother with optical. Let's get Windows installed real quick. Also, I left the old SSD installed in the system because once we are in Windows and we've updated and connected to the internet, I'm going to download a program to test that SSD to see if it actually does indeed have any issues, or if it's a false alarm. Please enter setup to recover BIOS settings. That probably means we have a dead CMOS battery, but we have spares. I don't want to deal with it right now, so we're just going to go ahead and save and exit. Load defaults. Yes. Exit, save changes, and reset. Oh boy. It's been almost an entire week since I last touched this PC. Not much has changed. I have installed Windows 10, and I did test that 500 gig Samsung SSD. And it tests just fine. So, what I think the strategy is here is we're going to go ahead and just use the 500 gig SSD, take that whole M.2 situation out of here so I can use it in a different system, and 6 months from now, when I go visit family in July, or whenever I do visit there next, I'll just bring a replacement brand new SSD, like maybe a 1 terabyte or something, and I can just clone it. That way we won't have to worry about whatever mysterious longevity issues might be hiding within that SSD. It has also been long enough to where we've got stuff to unbox. First, we have a P.O. Box donation. I've opened the box, but I haven't looked inside yet. And I think I might need some scissors. What is... This is, this is a CPU. This is... Oh. You know what? Let's get you in closer. That way you can actually see what I'm unboxing. First, we have an i5 12400F. I don't have anything that can use this, but that's not saying we won't in the future. So that's very good to have, especially for testing. It's pretty crazy to realize that the 1200 series is not new anymore. Oh dear. Looks like we've got a graphics card here. We have oh, I really need some scissors down here. Oh, there we go. This was well packaged. This is what is this? Challenger series. Oh, this is an A580. This is my first Intel graphics card. Now, I've got one of those real old ones from like the late 90s. It was like a something i740, I think it's called. Maybe i750. This is cool. This is very cool. And in fact, depending on the performance, this might be the one that goes inside that donation PC for the kid this Christmas. Thank you very much. Who sent this? This was sent by Jeffrey. Thank you very much. I don't think we've had a donation from you yet. I really appreciate that. Next, we have something that was given to me by a friend. So we've got a bunch of stuff here. It's just kind of a loose congregation of cards all praying to the heaven of the Silicon Lottery. We've got what appears to be a possibly GeForce 5200 or 6200. It is PCI. It will obviously need cleaning, but I really hope that this works. Oh, wait a minute. 512. This probably has 512 megabytes of RAM on board, so this is probably a 6200 or newer. This is something we will have to check out. I don't have a lot of PCI cards. This is very much appreciated. And to this friend, who I know watches my videos, I'm not entirely sure if you want me to name you yet, so at least for now, you will remain unnamed. This is, I believe, a Dell OEM card. These are going to be a little hard to identify. Sometimes they have it listed, sometimes they don't. This does not appear to have it listed, but it has DisplayPort and DVI, so I'm suspecting this is probably something like a Radeon 6000 series, maybe a 6550, just a guess. Next, we have what I believe to be a 780 Ti. At least that's what my friend believes it to be. It's pretty clean. It doesn't, unfortunately, list the model on the card anywhere, but the Gigabyte WindForce cards are super cool. We have a 250 gigabyte Seagate hard drive. It is SATA, and believe it or not, those actually are fairly useful. I can get use out of those. We have a EVGA GTX 550 Ti. I have a special place in my heart for this card because this is the first graphics card that my wife ever used when she built her first PC. Very cool. Might have to do something with that. This is the exact same as the other low-profile card, but with a incorrect high-profile bracket. So that's kind of cool. It is not attached, but you know what? That'll probably work just... Oh, wait a minute. Bad fan. Wait a minute. No, not a bad fan. It's got a screw in it. What? Almost got it. This is the nozzle for an airbrush, I think. Huh. Unexpected, but I mean, fair enough, I guess. Now, we also have another WindForce card. This one is caked with dust. I think this is a 500 series, but again, there's nothing written on it anywhere that really identifies it, so... Wait a minute. CH7790. Did Gigabyte make AMD cards? Wait a minute. GVN60. So this is a 680. Okay, this is a 680. Is that on this one too? R928XOC3GD. I don't know. Gigabyte cards are weird. So this is a 680. This is probably 780 Ti. Next we have a 2 terabyte Western Digital Black. This is SATA, and it's got something written on it that I probably shouldn't show because it might be an identifying number. Then we have an entire Mediacom box of RAM. And more. Holy cow. I don't know if any of this survived, but is there anything left in this box? No. Wild. I'm seeing SD RAM already. That's pretty useful. I don't have a whole lot of this. PC 100. This is early SD RAM. Okay. DDR2 looks like. No, that's DDR3 actually. I mean, there's some good stuff in here. I don't know when I'm going to have the chance to test all of this, but this is very useful. I appreciate this. Thank you so much. Now let's move all of this off to the side so that way I can show the big thing that that they donated. So let's move this all to the side so I can show the big thing that they donated. Oh dear, here we go. Oh. It's a little grungy, but what we have here is, well, there is no sticker on the front. I don't know who made this, but is this, we're going to take this off and just explore it real quick. I suspect this is Pentium era or older. And just to tell you why, let's turn this around and show you what we're dealing with before we even crack it open. But we've got what appears to be a proper AT power supply. We've got the old style keyboard connector, and that looks like an external mouse. This whole thing is very reminiscent of that weird tower that we have. That looks like a sound card though, so this could be interesting. Now, how does this open? Case is fairly bent in one corner. All the screws are out. No, they're not. No, they're not. Okay, there's a fifth screw. There we go. Ugh. Okay. That is indeed an AT power supply. The board has, I don't know how well I can show this. It does have AT and early ATX for power. We've got, this looks like a Seagate power, Western Digital power. Wow. This looks like a Seagate or Western Digital hard drive. Yes, Western Digital. Looks like an 8 gigabyte drive. We have an ISA sound card. It's a Sound Blaster CT4170. I don't know anything about that. Whoa, what kind of card is that? Hold on, we've got to pull this video card because that's something I've never seen before. Might have a task for you, my audience. This is an ISA video card. And it's very stuck. Oh, wow. Okay, I pulled out the wrong screw. I'm stupid. Okay, so this is obviously an ISA video card. It is a Trident. Yes, a Trident TVGA 8900C. What is that? What is this connector? So this is an ISA video card. What era of PC are we dealing with? This might... What the heck CPU? Alright, I guess we're tearing this apart. I gotta know what CPU that is. I have to know. Because that does not look like any Pentium that I've ever seen. Now, there's no way that we're going to get this. Well, this might be a K6 or equivalent. That came off very easy, actually. That is a K series, I think. I need some... Yeah. Okay. Okay, it's an AMD K6-2. It looks like a 450 megahertz CPU. Yeah. So that's socket 7. Yeah, this is a socket 7 motherboard. Okay, so this should be compatible with a Pentium, but we're going to go ahead and leave that K6 in there, as it will outperform any Pentium that I put in there. And to avoid forgetting in the future, I'm going to clean off this ancient thermal paste, and we will replace that with modern thermal paste real quick. Again, just so I don't forget it next time we go to test it and then kill it. And a lot for these old CPUs. Well, that's in. I know that it's not super easy for you to see what I'm doing, but we'll look at this another day. This is super cool, and I genuinely appreciate the opportunity to look at a system like this. Okay, put this back together, and we will be back to our regular video. Not bad. Very cool, and a lot of exciting things to look forward to in the future. I should also mention that I do have an update on that AM5 motherboard. I learned that apparently the first time you do memory training on those boards, it can take a very, very long time. So, I tried again. This will be in a Patreon exclusive behind the scenes video. And I won't let you know what the results were, but I will say, not great. That should tell you everything that you need to know. We've still got options though. So let's get this M.2 out of here. And we will occupy its spot with a proper bracket here, just so that way it looks good, because I'll be honest, my grandmother doesn't know anything about computers. So as long as it looks good, she'll be happy. There's that. I forgot to put this card away, so we'll put that away later. Go ahead and get our side panel back on. Now, I don't have internet down here in my studio. Yet. So the question then becomes, how do we test the gaming prowess of this grandmother machine? You know, for all that gaming that she's definitely going to do. Well, same way we do most of them. With offline GOG installers. Let's get to the desktop. And here we are, finally on the desktop. Now, I've got everything loaded up on here. Not that my grandmother needs games to play. Once we're done, we're going to wipe it all, install OpenOffice, and then ship it off out to her. But we do want to see what this hardware can do. Now, what I have done is I have upgraded this a little bit off camera, like I said I would. We've put 16 gigs of RAM in here. A little upgrade from 12. And what we did is I found out that we had some Corsair Vengeance just lying around. So that's now in here, and the RAM that was in here has been pulled, and it will be used in another system. Funny enough, as I was setting this up, one of my neighbors showed up and asked if I sold computers. I told him sure, and I'd sell him something cheap. So that means next weekend we're building another PC to give away. So that'll be fun. Yeah, let's go ahead and see how it performs. And there you have it. That is not a bad showing, even with MechWarrior 5, although it did start to struggle with that. Remember, this Quadro K620 is roughly equivalent to a GTX 745, so it's not exactly anything super special. But I think either way, my grandmother will be quite happy with its desktop performance. So, not bad. And with that, if you'd like to see all sorts of behind-the-scenes content, including a video that I'm about to post to my Patreon, link is down below. If you'd like to send us stuff to help with these various giveaways, my P.O. box is also in the description below. If you like this and you want to see more, a like does help us in the algorithm, and subscribe to see more content like this. Thank you.